Welcome to Teams Transformed, the podcast for people who want to see real team transformation.
For courageous coaches, curious leaders, and anyone passionate about unlocking the true power of teams.
We're your hosts, Georgina
and Allard,
here to journey with you through transformational insights on how to coach teams with presence, depth, and emergence.
Let's explore not just the tools, but the art of transforming teams.
Welcome to episode 4 of this podcast series, The Team Coaching Journey, where teams come alive. In this episode, we're exploring the team launch. What do we mean by a team launch? What's it for? How do we design for a team launch when taking an emergent team coaching approach?
And we keep in mind that the purpose of a team launch is to really help the team discover its learning agenda. And that learning agenda does not necessarily come from so-called models of expertise or assessment data. The learning agenda, more than anything else, emerges in the moment. And that requires that we're attentive, not just to the content of the team's conversations, but also to the process, more than anything, to the process of their conversations. Not just what they talk about, but how do they go about talking about the things that they talk about. And we hope to illustrate that through the following debrief. Hi there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again for the 4th episode of this latest series of podcasts that we've been recording. Remember, it's called The Team Coaching Journey, where teams come alive. And we like that word journey because team coaching is rarely a one-off session. It takes time. There's different stages and interventions that are planned along the way. And we thought it might be interesting to take you on that journey with us, to show you what it looks like or what it could look like, because there's no such thing as the team coaching journey, but we hold it lightly as a possible journey and fully realize that there's different ways of going about the work. Now, on this journey started because we were asked to start working with the executive team of Acme, which is really a composite. It's not a client as such. But for the sake of confidentiality, we've come up with a bit of a composite picture, which is based on a lot of different clients that we've worked with over the years. But we're treating it in this series as if it were a real team. And yep, you're coming alongside us. You're in the room, so to speak, with us when we do the work, and you're privy to our debriefs after each stage. Which gives us an opportunity to explain why we do what we do each step of the way, and hopefully share some of our learnings and give you some insights and do a bit of teaching along the way. Now, the journey began a few episodes ago with some initial meetings. We met Sarah from HR. We did some initial contracting, got the green light to proceed. So we had our team engagement session, which was the first time that we met the team as a whole. That was in episode 2. We then submitted our imaginary proposal, which was accepted. Yes, we celebrated. We had a first one-on-one with the CEO, who's also the team leader. Then did some additional discovery work and ran what we call the team selfie assessment in episode 3. All that discovery work, of course, led us to new insights or new figures that arise. I had a one-on-one with the CEO in order to debrief some of the initial results of that team selfie assessment. Wanted to give the CEO a bit of a heads up before we shared the results with the larger team. And so today we're debriefing that one-on-one that I had with the CEO, as well as the team launch, which is that next little box there on our team coaching journey diagram. So we'd love to fill you in what happened and how we experienced it, and the work that we've been doing over the last 2 weeks with the team, and as well as taking a quick look ahead at what comes next.
Great. So, Al, I'm really looking forward to debriefing, and I'm very curious about your conversation with the chief exec, and also to debrief our experience of the team launch. Yeah. In our previous debriefs, we've used our TCS framework, STS, self, team, and situation. So if it works for you, I think that's a really good framework, and it'd be great to bring that in here again.
Lovely, yeah.
Should we start with what was your experience of your one-to-one with the chief executive, looking at the team selfie results?
Yes, I was a bit nervous about that going into that meeting, because there were some real discrepancies between the CEO's assessment of things and then the team at large, and specifically when it comes to to leadership of all things. I was really surprised to hear the team tell us that they did not experience the leadership as particularly trustworthy and reliable, even though the CEO thought quite highly of himself in that regard, and also linked to this notion of the lack of clarity that the team experiences in terms of their long-term vision and their goals. Again, which was very different from from John's own kind of impressions, in which he saw things very differently. So
I remember that. I remember feeling a bit fluttery in my stomach of thinking about you going and having that conversation, because it's not easy for a leader to receive that feedback from a team. As a leader, you're not perceived as to be trustworthy. And so how did it go? How did John receive that?
It actually went remarkably well. I think I went in there holding the results lightly and explaining this was a snapshot, like a selfie is, right? A selfie is a quick shot of a moment in time. And so it captures not our destiny, but it captures a bit of the team's mood at the moment. And so I held it lightly, and I went in there with, I think, presence. The presence that we bring into these meetings is always quite important. So I went in there with a bit of lightness, and kept building some ground, before hitting them with some specific numbers. And but it went. I think he received the news very well. He was just, I think, more surprised than anything else. And I think that where we landed is this idea that these 2 points of vision and goals and credibility of leadership are definitely related. It became very clear in our conversation that he had always assumed, it was a big assumption, that everybody was as clear as he was. Because when I listen to him, he's very clear on vision and goals for the team, and has just not been able to transfer that to the rest of the team. And hence he's being perceived as wishy-washy or changing course or just plain unreliable. So it's not it wasn't a death sentence kind of thing. It's like, this is I now understand what I need to do better, what I can do better.
Great. Was fantastic preparation really for him for the team launch, and to think about how he could show up effectively in that team launch. But it also sounded like you were able to build a good relationship with John, and I'm sure that contributed towards the launch going well, because he certainly showed up in a way that was indicating to everybody that he was open and there for learning, and there to be really part of this team coaching, which we had some concerns about at the start, because I remember at the start of our work with this team, he was really talking about them as the team rather than us, and perhaps not seeing his connection. So I really have the sense that he's starting to be more aware of the impact he has on the team.
Very much so. Yeah. And completely on board with this idea that his leadership is to a large extent responsible for the team's success. And so, when we did the team launch, and maybe we can shift into the team launch a little bit, I found that he showed up with, I'd call it almost gratitude for having had this opportunity to learn from the team. And gratitude. And I think he showed up with an open mind and expressed a real desire to change some of these findings into something more positive.
Yes, gratitude for their courage to respond honestly in the selfie, because they could have all scored leadership as given it all 5s, which is all high, to play safe. But they're really taking some risk there in naming that they weren't feeling great about leadership. So I think that made a huge difference how he showed up at the start. What I remember was, we talked about in our preparation for the launch, which seems like a long time ago now, but when we talked about it, we were clear on the purpose of the launch, which was to give the team a reset so that it's set up for success. An opportunity to focus on what they needed to do to build the foundations for success. And we'd seen the team selfie and had a sense that they weren't clear collectively on their purpose as a team, their goals. But we decided to let them, our design really was, let's start with letting them review the selfie and then see where we go from there.
So and I think
that's a simple design.
Absolutely. And that's why I keep believing in the importance of this as one of the building blocks, so to speak, in a team coaching journey, this team launch, because it really is an opportunity for the team to start to, I like the word that you use, to reset around who are we as a team? Who do we want to be as a team? How do we need to work together to be successful and create that team culture that we need? And I know that you and I often speak about, emergent work, right? And seeing and letting things emerge. But I also remember that this particular event, the team launch, we designed it. We went in there with a bit of an agenda, right? And and a desire to let go of the agenda if need be. But again, we're still offering at this point the team a bit of structure.
Yes.
So it's almost a bit of a workshop kind of idea.
Although our agenda was pretty light touch, we had a day with the team, and I remember we planned the morning as really to review the team selfie, and the afternoon was, well, we'll see where we need to go once we reviewed the team selfie in the morning. But we did have a goal for the team launch, which was to start to contract with the team around some areas of development, some learning opportunities for them as a team, because that then shapes our work going forward. And I often find that it's not really until you get in the room and spend time together with the team that the real learning opportunities come clear or get clearer. And I think that was the case this time round. Selfie helped indicate a few things, but also we got some fresh data that emerged in the room from our experience of being with them.
And as I think back to how we achieved that, I think one of the best decisions we made was to not show up as the two experts who were going to tell the team what was right and what was wrong about them. We gave them an overview of the team selfie results, and then immediately kind of turned the whole responsibility and ownership of that over to them around the general question of what, have a conversation about these results and what they mean to you, or what they might possibly mean to you.
Yes, and at that stage, they were sitting in a circle, and you and I stepped out, not out the room, but we stepped out of the circle and said we were just going to observe and leave them to have the conversation. And that's important because it's an opportunity for the team to make contact with each other. Otherwise, one of the things I've learned with working with teams at that early stage, if I stay in the circle, we stay in the circle, and they're talking about a diagnostic, they'll often look at us as each team member's speaking and sharing their thoughts around a survey or diagnostic. We really want them to make contact with each other. This is their data. It's their responses. It's up to them what they make of it.
Yeah.
So we want to take ourselves outside of that equation, and that worked well.
I'm just reminded, as we're reminiscing here, I'm reminded of the importance, as you observe, to the difference between observing or looking at content and looking at process, the different levels, right? And so at a content level, what were they talking about? Of course, they were talking about specific results that had to do with leadership, right? That was a real issue, credibility of leadership. We talked about that. There was content around, we're not clear on vision and goals. Well, we all agree on that. And then there was another piece of content around, yes, we don't necessarily know how to manage conflict and differences well in this team. So that was one thing, right? So we can look at it at that content level. But it's almost what I end up finding more and more interesting is to observe for process as well. It's not just what are they talking about, but how do they go about talking about what they're talking about? How are they? What can we observe in between team members, in how they interact, and how the process of the conversation, the how.
Yeah. And that's where our approach is different to traditional approaches, because in traditional approaches, the intervener often brings the how. So we could have had a much more workshop-like process around the team selfie. We could have, let's say, get them into pairs, ask them to identify the top 3 strengths and the top 3 areas for development, to each pair to report in on that. All of that sort of thing, that would be us managing the process. But that doesn't give us the opportunity to then let the team organize its own process, for us to experience the team in its more natural state.
Yeah.
And we want to do that because that's data. How does it feel being with this team without us trying to manage or control how they work together? How does it feel being with this team? What do we notice as some of the patterns?
Yes.
So you and I sat out and observed, and it was about an hour they were talking about the team selfie report. And what I remember noticing was, at the process level, I remember noticing a real feeling of sort of constraint, like there's a lot of politeness and people listening to each other, agreeing with each other.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any disagreement or opposing.
Yeah.
And I had this sort of feeling of restraint, like a bit of withholding. Some people maybe having more private thoughts internally than they were willing to share at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps this is common at this early stage of team coaching, where they're not really sure how much they want to reveal or they want to speak up.
Yeah.
And wanting it to feel nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the tone for that niceness or that politeness, I think, was set by the CEO. Because remember what we said earlier in today's episode, I think he really showed up with a lot of gratitude and desire to, gratitude for the team's input and insights and a real willingness to kind of desire to change things. And so it started off with a real desire for harmony, I think. But I agree with you. There was a sense of maybe they weren't really willing or able to make contact with some of the things just below the surface and kind of stayed at that artificial harmony level,
Yes.
which was probably indicative of the strength or lack of strength of the container at this level, at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the positive side, they were listening to each other. They weren't interrupting each other. There was a lot of goodwill I experienced, and gratitude, which did create a nice feeling in the room. But this sense of not quite making contact with what they're really holding inside themselves, with their real thoughts and feelings and truth. So there's some more work to do on that.
Yeah. I would go one step further. Not just some more work to be done on that, but it seems to be at this point, to me, it seems to be the work that needs to be done, right? Because if they're not able to make contact just below the surface, making contact with themselves and really make contact with the others and really make contact with what matters to them in the moment, then it's going to be really difficult to do any meaningful work with them going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, we're asking them, actually, now we're talking about it, to make contact with themselves, with other team members, and with the situation. They're in a STS environment as well. And without that, the interactions aren't going to be as meaningful as they need to be as a team. You're absolutely right. So
I remember specifically. I remember you asking. I think maybe I heard you use it once or twice. This idea of I don't remember exactly who in the team you were speaking to, but you asked them. You really invited them to go inside and check in with themselves. Yeah. You used that language of go inside. What's going on for you right now? And there was a bit of resistance to that, but I think you were already inviting them to make a bit more contact with themselves. And at one point, I like how you bring in the STS at this level as well. But because you also asked them to check in with each other and make contact with each other a few times, using language like, again, I'm not sure exactly who you were speaking to, but you're saying, "Hey, John, can you respond to what Mary just said?" Or Mary, what did you hear John say? To really help them get in contact with each other. So there were in retrospect now, there were lots of little interventions to help them start to do that.
Yes, that was after their first hour or so, where they were in their own circle exploring Team Selfie. We then stepped in and helped them to really summarize the key learning areas. And not surprisingly, they came out with, what's our purpose as a team? What's our goals as a team? They really wanted to work on that in the afternoon. But then you and I did our own goldfish bowl, and we said to them, there's the next thing. We'd just like to have a conversation between ourselves, with them as witnesses to it, talking about what we noticed at the process level for the team.
Yeah.
So I remember us sharing with them that we noticed the gratitude and warmth, the listening, the respectfulness nature of how they were talking with each other. And we also said, and it felt a bit like there was some withholding, some restraint.
Yeah.
Of not quite making contact with what's really here.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, for a team to really do amazing work together as a team, it's about the art of making the invisible visible. And that's a practice for all of us as humans, to find the language, the courage, the words, the way of sharing what we're holding inside. And I really like the way you framed it. You made it sound like a philosophical, meaningful, important piece of work for all humanity to do, and a practice, not a tick box exercise, but a practice, something that we'll practice together with the team over time.
Yeah.
And we were role modeling that in that moment by sharing what we were holding in our hearts. And I remember it felt a bit risky, because we're talking about the team at that moment in time, and we're talking about our sense of them withholding.
Yeah. And come to think of it, I think the conversation that you and I had in that little fishbowl, the way you describe it, in front of the team, with the team listening in, was very similar to the conversation you and I are having now.
Yes. Yeah, right? It was actually. Yeah.
Really laying bare what we observed in ourselves, in the team, in the larger situation, and how that, and then handing that back to them again. So it's this ongoing process. Now I'm just reminded of John Whitmore's work again. This ongoing process of raising awareness and raising ownership as the basic pillars. Or personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
For and so, and I think that's the big opportunity in a team launch, right? Is to help the team to start building that awareness around what is it that we need to learn, how what is our learning edge as a team, and then and start giving them ownership of that response. Start signaling that it's their work to do, and so and
the team, there was some good, by lunchtime there was clarity of these two learning development areas for the team at this stage. The one that was more obvious, the one about the team's goals and purpose, that the team selfie yielded, and the one that emerged through the process of around contact and making contact with each other, and that formed the agenda for the afternoon, and it's likely to continue for some time. But in the afternoon, we worked on that double task of content and process. So they were working on and talking about what's our purpose as a team and what's our goals.
Yeah.
And we were coaching them at the process level around contact.
That's right.
And I remember at one point you saying to one team member, let's just pause and check here. On a scale of 0 to 5, we like our scales. If 5 is you've been really open and you've shared everything that you're holding, and 1 is you haven't even scratched the surface. How are you doing? What level are you sharing at? And the team member replied with in truth, it's probably a 2 or a 3.
And
you said, well, what would take it up to a 3.5? And I like that you're asking for a small stretch, a little risk taking at this stage, graded to awareness of this is an early stage.
I learned that from you.
And the team member did. The team member took a risk.
I think that what you're saying is key. So as soon as a team starts to focus on content again, there's always this risk of becoming task mesmerized, right? They become mesmerized by the content, yes, we've got to really get clear on our goals now. So what's goal 1 and goal 2 and goal 3? Get very and the wording, the languaging of all that stuff becomes important, and then it's almost like that need for really making contact with each other that became so figural in the morning has a tendency to almost disappear again, right?
Yes.
Into the background, and so it was very much our role to keep that front and center, and really help them make contact with the contact, and keep building some energy around that, so that So that didn't get lost in translation. Yeah.
And we did a lot of coaching interventions around contact, like what did you hear
Yeah.
a particular team member say?
Yeah.
Are you clear? Could you play back what you heard and say? What did it mean to you? How did that land for you?
Yeah.
Really working at that contact.
Did you feel heard? Did you feel met?
Yes.
And again, turn it up to a 3 or a 4. Say it like you mean it. So I think we got a lot done in the team launch. I think they're well set up, and I noticed as we concluded that session that there was a real desire to delve into these things deeper, and a real welcoming of working with this magic of what emerges.
Yes.
And not just staying focused on 2 or 3 agenda points.
Yeah. So I suppose in closing our debrief, because now we're going to go and have one-to-one sessions with each team member.
That's right.
But before we talk about that, what's your sense of how we were working together in the room? And is there anything that we need to be mindful of or do differently?
I think we have to be mindful of the fact that, we have to check in. We have to we're role modeling this, right? I think we need to be role modeling, and we need to continue to role model this. And so I think the real honest question for you and I will remain, are you and I making contact with each other? Are you and I making contact with the team? And if we feel that contact is not completely in the on position, then what needs to happen in order to switch that back on?
Yeah.
Because they'll be looking at
were there any times when you felt that we were not in contact?
Yes, because I can get carried away in the content rather than the process as well. I can get really excited about, their goals and all of a sudden I'm not, and then I'm forgetting about the process. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there was a bit where I got a bit overexcited talking about what really makes a great executive team, and hijacked the agenda a bit. And I can tell, because I can feel my energy rising as I'm excited about what I want to share with them, of my ideas about what makes a great executive team. And at that moment in time, I think you and I lost contact. I lost contact with you and with the team, because I can see I'm the one holding the energy. It's not in them at that moment.
Yeah.
So I need to watch for that. Yeah.
Same here. So let's.
So now we're going to go and have one-to-ones with each team member. I'm really looking forward to spending time with them one-to-one, and get more of a sense of each person. And so our goal for the one-to-one sessions is really to get into contact with each individual, start to build the relationship, and start the work of helping each person to become aware of what their individual development work is to do in service of team effectiveness.
I look forward to debriefing that with you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today, and hope you enjoyed today's episode. Georgina and I are off to do some one-on-one coaching sessions with the individual team members, and we look forward to sharing our insights with you in the next episode. See you soon.
If you liked this episode, you will love our free ebook, Beyond the Blueprint, a guide to emergent team coaching. It's the ultimate resource for leaders and coaches driving true team transformation. Grab your copy via the link in the show notes, hit follow, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining today's journey of Teams Transformed.
If this sparked a new insight or a deeper question, We invite you to sit with it, not to solve it, but to let it unfold.
For resources, community, and reflection prompts, visit teamcoachingstudio.com.
Until the next time, stay present, stay curious, and keep leaning into the art of emergence.